Interesting. This is Chicago Times. Why would they write an article about missing things has become a lost cause? Why would they write an article like that? I found that in the bottom of a wooden crate. I'm in the basement still straightening up. It's because there's something to the missing things. My goodness, my hair is a wild mess. There's something to the missing things. Like when you say, I misplaced my keys, and you can't find them, and you search your house upside down. You misplace your wallet, your ID, as some things end up missing, it literally vanishes into another realm, another dimension. There's something to it. Why on earth would they write an article? This is 1991, Chicago Sun Times article, and I'm going to read it. We are going to read it because I really do believe that there is another dimension. There are beings from other dimensions that can come and go into our dimension, into our reality, and they can take things and they can put it into their dimension. Now, this may sound a little strange, but it's really not that strange if you think about it. If you've lost something and you search and search, you spend the whole week, the whole weekend, you look in the same drawer over and over and over, you look on the same place. You keep going over it time and time again, and this thing, whatever you're looking for, whatever you lost, is gone. Listen to this. Listen to it, you all. This is like wild. It's wild. Search for missing things has become a lost cause. I do not have a compulsive personality. Honest, I can let the phone ring off the hook without answering, and I feel nothing. I can sit behind a woman with a label sticking out of her dress and not even be tempted to tuck it in. You know how some people line up the bottles in their medicine chest facing forward? I'm not like that. This is an article about, let me get down on the floor. Get down on the floor, Gina, honey. I'm kneeling on the floor. I'm straightening up in my basement, and no, there's something going on. This is the first time I've ever seen an article. Now, granted, it's back in 1991, the first time I've ever seen an article written on missing things. Missing things, because you can look and look and look and you can't find. It's like seek and you will find. Well, sometimes you look, you seek, and you can't find it. You can't find it. I want to read it. I really want to read it. If you're just tuning in, I'm in the basement still straightening up my stuff. Yeah, so hello and welcome. Let me do this, y'all. Let me flip it around. I want to read this. I do not, okay. There is this one thing that drives me nuts. Don't tell me something is lost. It doesn't matter if I want it after it's found. I cannot stand the idea of something out there hiding from me. I figured out once that I spend half of my waking hours looking for things. It's a mission. At any given moment, I am involved in hunt and search for glasses, car keys, recipes, checkbook, or the telephone numbers. I once spent 3 days looking for a snapshot of me in my high school graduation. When I unearthed it, I couldn't remember why I was even looking for it. And the kids say I drive them crazy. One day, we're reading this, you all. One day, this person, one of them said, I can't remember which one, they all look alike, was playing halfway across the room, and another kid came up to me and said to him, your mother is looking for you. Your mother is looking for you? My child left first base, ran across the field, hit the highway, cut across 4 backyards, got chased by a dog, cut his foot, and when he appeared at the door, breathless and exhausted, he panted, what do you want? I said, nothing. I just wanted to know where you were. My husband knows I have this flaw, and he plays it like a violin. I'll be enjoying life when he will walk through a room and mumble, you haven't seen my kick around pants, have you? So this person has lost his pants. This is missing things. And we're reading an article. You can see the article right here. It's from Chicago Times, 1991. And let me tell you something about this Chicago Times in 1991. Oh my gosh. You would not believe the subjects that they are talking about, because the very subjects that they're talking about throughout this newspaper is the same subjects that are making their rounds again today. It's like a continual circle going round and around and around and around. I don't read cartoons. This is a paper. I'm straightening up my basement. This is a paper that was in the bottom of a wooden crate. So, I don't remember, a couple days ago, weeks ago, maybe last year, her husband had lost his pants. What color are they? Gray? No, they're blue. What is it? Is it gray or blue? How can I find something if I don't know what I'm looking for? For 2 solid weeks, I search for those lousy pants, and I can check garment bags, storage boxes, and the drawers. I check every hanger to make sure the shirt hasn't been put on top of them. I check in my closet to make sure they don't get hung there by mistake. I move the washer and dryer. I check behind them. I go through the mound of hand washables. I call the cleaners. I find them in the trunk of his car. He says, oh, pitch them. They're falling apart. They're falling apart, you all. This is like weird. Why would they even write an article about missing items if there wasn't something to these missing items? Gina, why are you reading a newspaper article? Because I'm flipping through this Chicago Times, and the same topics, not right there, the same topics that are being talked about today are being talked about back in 1991 when George Bush Sr. is president. George Bush Sr. is president. Who on earth? And then they got Dan Quayle. They got to talking about Dan Quayle too down in here, you all. Look at this. Dan Quayle, John Mahoney, tax finance. No, there's, oh my gosh. I haven't seen him in ages. Ben Bernanke. Is that not Ben Bernanke? Which one is this one? Alan Greenspan. Alan Greenspan under George Bush Sr. No rebound yet, but the economy has hit bottom. This is in 1991, and we're still talking about stuff like this. Hey, Rosie, honey, you look like a little baby. Let's see, see, this is weird. Have you ever seen Alan Greenspan in a long time? They kept the same crooks. They were crooks. They kept them the same ones look at that, $1.1 million going to affordable homes. Look at all of this stuff. The Dow, the housing market. What was the Dow Jones? Look at the prime rate back in 1991 was 8.5%. 8.5%. I wonder what I really wonder what the rate was. The dollar dips. The dollar dips. Look at this. Here's those things again. Let your fingers do the walking. IBM investing $100 million into Wang. Housing startups, you all. Oh my gosh. Could you just, if you are new to this, before the internet, the New York Stock Exchange, look at that. Who could even read all of these stocks? This is on a piece of paper, Chicago Times. Just think, people grab these Chicago Times. This might be an important date. June the 19th of 2024 might be a date that you might want to keep in. Gina, what are you doing? I got this newspaper, and it was in the bottom of a, look at my little baby Rosie. She's just sitting there. It was in the bottom of a wooden crate that I had an extension cord in and trying to straighten up this garage. I am. Look at this. Look at all these stock things. Treasury report. Oh, what on earth is this? We want to see this. Oh my gosh, you all. Here are the figures on the government spending and the debt. Total public debt as of June the 17th is $3,407,355. I'm thinking that it's billion, only $3 billion in debt. Certainly that can't be $4 or $3 trillion. Statutory debt limit, $4 billion. Sure, are we billions or are we millions right here? I'm thinking it's just billions, and now we're up into the $1 trillion. Interest, fiscals. Look at all of this stuff, you all. Look how far we've come up into the trillions of dollars since 1991. That is really interesting. The Chicago, hello. That was the World War. You're just tuning in. I'm sitting here on the floor. You got to sitting down on the floor, sitting on a little mat to keep my legs so my rear end doesn't freeze. This paper that I found in the bottom of a milk crate. This is a light. Look, my gosh, these things go on and on. Look at this. They are going on and on, page after page after page. Oh my gosh, you already got the NASDAQ. This is before the internet. The underground god. Oh, we got an underground god. We want to know about the underground god, you all. The underground god keeps the mines away. Australia rejects the project and the cities of the Aborigine beliefs, you all. We got to hear this. We're going back to 1991. The Australian government rejected a major mining project. This is what it says. A major mining project Tuesday because the Aborigines said it would awaken the underground god and lead to mass destruction. So they don't want their underground god awakened in Australia, but chances are right now they've already awakened the underground god. If you look around what's happening in Australia and around the world, the god underground has been awakened. This is what we're talking about, you all. It's all been in plain sight. Come on now, we got to get it going. I'm on the basement floor. Gina, that's where you need to be, on the basement floor. No, it's nice and I like it down here. I do kind of like it. There is no doubt that the Aborigines believe that to allow mining in the Coronation Hill would be a desecration of their beliefs, said the Prime Minister Bob Hawke, announcing the ban on mining for gold, platinum, and palladium at the site in the remote Northern Territory. Hawke spoke after a meeting of more than 5 hours with 17 cabinet ministers. The decision pleased the 600 million Jaw-Yuan tribe, who say mining would have disturbed their god Bula in what they call the sickness country. You all, can you look there right now and see if they have allowed mining? Can somebody, while we've got this video going, can somebody look and see if there is mining in the Coronation Hill of Australia? Because they told them back in 1991 not to do it because you're going to awaken their god. Can you look and see if they got the minings going on? Because they wanted to mine for the gold, the platinum, and the palladium. They call this the sickness country. They woken their god Bula. Yeah. Look at that, you all. I want to know if they have went ahead and went back on their word back in 1991. 1991, Rosie, honey, you're a little baby. Come over here, Rosie. Can you come to me, baby? You're a little baby, Rosie. You're over there playing with your little box. You are. Come on. Oh, she's playing around, you all. She's found something on the floor. Yeah, this is. Look at this. Who said something about World War II? Somebody on here said something about World War II. You all, we can find it. Look, it's right down here. Let me see it. World War II. World War II. 50 years ago today, in 1941, the German army unit masses along the border of the Soviet Union from the Baltic south to the Black Sea. The British forces set up attacks on the Italians in the east. Rosie, honey, what you doing? You look like you having fun. They set up attacks on the Italians in the east, Africa. Germany and Italy order the U.S. consulates in those countries to close. Yeah, wow, this is awful. Amy Gill, if they have done that, they probably went back on their word back in 1991. If you're just tuning in, this is a paper. Let me see what I got. Let me see this, y'all. Hold on a second. I'll show you the crate that it came out of. I gotta get it. I gotta get it. All right. Erg. Hold on. Let me get this. I gotta sit back down on the ground. Let me sit back down on the ground. You all sit down on this thing. Sit down on it. It came out of this thing right here. Let me get it. Let me get it. Came out of this thing right here. The Kira Barina Espana. It came out of the bottom of this. I don't know what this had in it, but that's what I got the paper out of. That right there. So I thought I'm going to open up the paper. From 1991. You was a young buck in 1991. I was too. I was in my 20s, you are. In our 20s. This is from the Chicago stuff. First Chicago. At first you will succeed. Then they got the weather. Oh, they got sky data, you all. What happened? The sky data. The last quarter. Look, I wonder if they still do that. If this is in June. Sky data. World War II was totally European disaster. And America got involved in 43 and 44. Oh, wow. These are ads. Like a thing of the past, you all. A thing of the past. You just tuning in. You got your auto dealer. The national debt was only like $3 billion in 1991. I don't like touching paper with my hand. I just want to tell you right now, I don't even like touching newsprint with my hand at all. Okay, this thing is the half of it. Half of it is here. Okay, the hot story. You got the hot story on the Chicago Times. Fort tape. You got advertisements. Hold on, you all. We're going to look at this really fast. Water District Board. Break. Rural states report sharp increase in violent crimes. Some rural states. Montana had the biggest proportionate of increase in Montana. The FBI, 15 states. This is back in 1991. The Pakistani judge was killed. Bullet-riddled car. Honduras continues their torture tactics. China may sign the arms control. You're just tuning in. Gina, what are you doing on your basement floor? Well, I'm straightening up my basement. I really don't like licking my fingers. I need to put my glove on so I can turn the paper. Where is my glove? I think I got a glove behind me. I got a glove behind me that will enable me to turn the paper. I just put a glove on. Now I can do this now because I don't like touching newsprint. I never like touching it with my fingers. So I got this right here. Look at this. The Democrats are wanting, these are the headlines. They want wealthy donors. Oh, see, I can do it. Look at this. I mean, these aren't too whatever. Navy vet, Great Plains has wind erosion and soil. Don't let this, see, this is a main headline right now. Look at this. The main headline back in Chicago Times, June the 19th, 1991, page 31. Don't let the schemers prey on the immigrants. Labels shouldn't unnerve the board. Is it time to higher education? Adopt a school test. Don't make the grade. They remap the aid to their allies. Look, we've got this going on. We got humanities going on. India asking for help. Now you got some sleep wars. We don't want to talk about it. Hello, are y'all doing anything? Anything is better than Sleepy Joe. Free the Palestinians. Something about nail fungus. Nail fungus. I'm turning this. I'm on my basement floor, is what I am, because I'm going through this paper. I'm going through my paper. Arthritis Foundation honors Dan Hampton. This is the news from 1991, June the 19th. Dolly Parton paradox. What's that mean? Tribute to the women struggling to achieve her current ego when she flies. A paradox by Dolly Parton. Oh my gosh. So you just tuning in. This is called a newspaper. This was The Rocketeer. Don't ask me what it was about. It must have been a movie, whatever that was. It could have even been a play. You just tuning in. This is a lighthearted thing. Robin Hood, the Magic Flute, CNN. Now, did you listen to that? CNN to report African famine live. Why would they want to report the African famine live? I don't think that's really nice to do that. Really, famine in Africa back in 1991. They're spending, it says Los Angeles Cable News Network, not to be left behind now that the Persian Gulf War has boosted its stature, is spending $300,000 to beam live broadcast this week of the desolation in Ethiopia. Can you believe what we're reading here? They want to broadcast. They spent $300,000 about the desolation in Ethiopia. Why on earth? This sounds really weird. If you look back in time, if you look back in time, Chicago leave you your memories in your mind. Let me look at this, you all. Do we need a moderator in here? Let's read this. This is during the Gulf War, whatever war it was. I know exactly what war it was. I know what war it was. 1991. In June, we had just left Berlin, Germany. We were stationed in Berlin, Germany. My husband was stationed at Tempelhof Central Airport, and the war broke out. And the war broke out over there. And then the Berlin Wall came down. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, is what was said. The Berlin Wall came down, and we left Germany, Berlin, Germany, during wartime. When we got on the plane, it was a big overseas plane. I had my daughter. She was small. My son was just an infant. That plane was empty. It was the biggest, I couldn't even tell you what type of plane it was. We were the only ones on the airplane leaving that country. And it was a long flight across the ocean. We were the only one. And I remember being in the building with all the other military. We lived in Army. It was on an Army post, but it was within the city of Berlin. They said, "You're not going nowhere." But we did. My husband was Air Force, and his career field had ended. He was a 1 in 671, a German linguist, a crypto whatever thing, and you would listen on the East Germans' conversations, and you would translate them. But it became against the law since the two Germanys had united. So we got on an airplane and we left. It was so empty. It's an experiment. So we got out of there. They took apart his laptop and stuff because they didn't know what was going to happen. It was a wild time. How we doing? That's me. Okay, here we go. How we doing over here in the live stream? You just tuning in. June the 19th of 1991. Look at this. I did not know this. This is really interesting. It's not to be left behind now that the Persian Gulf War, that's what it was. The Persian Gulf War had boosted its stature, is spending $300,000 to beam live broadcast this week's of the desolation in Ethiopia. Oh my gosh. Famine in Africa. See, this is what's really weird. See, they wanted to do that. I don't even remember seeing anything about Africa. All you heard about was the war, the Gulf War. The Gulf War. Can you remember them doing that about the famine in Africa? Can you? It's a week-long package of interviews, political analysis, and snapshots from Ethiopia, Sudan, Somalia, Mozambique, and Malawi. Malawi. You are tuning in. You was watching The Family. Do we need a moderator in here, Ricky, honey? Now there's nobody behind me. It's just my little, like a weed eater thing. I think it's a gas-powered weed eater behind me. Something lightweight. Do we need a moderator in here? Are we fine? Shout out to Andy, honey. That's right. Yeah. Let me finish reading this, you all. Can we finish reading it? Gina, that's like it. Oh. All right. Now look at. Okay, I can fix him. Okay. Yeah. So the purpose of this journey. See, I can play moderator too. Is to take an unflinching look at where in starvation in the Horn of Africa, where hunger threatens nearly 30 times the number of people who died in the year-long famine that ravaged Ethiopia earlier this decade. You might remember that a bunch of rock stars joined hands and sang "We Are the World." I remember that. They sang "We are the world, we are the children. We are the world." The millions received from music. Okay, so they did a thing. Okay, that's good. They took up money for Africa. Sales went to the massive relief efforts in which some did, let me do this. Let's look at this. Let me put you in timeout for 10 minutes. Okay, you come listen to me. Listen to me right now. I am trying to do a live stream, and you should not come on here and try to start arguments with people on my live stream just to jump the chat, because I won't put up with it. I will time you out, and if I see you commenting on something and you going after other people in the chat and it's not a healthy conversation, I will block you. Or you come at me, I will block you. We're trying to look back in history, because this paper is not a finding by accident. It was meant for me to find this paper and look back into it, because it's a part of our history. Even though it's in the past, but it plays an important role, a very important role on what's happening today. You may not agree with this, so therefore this video may not be for you. You may not be one who wants to go back and look at Gina reading a newspaper from June the 19th of 1991. That's, I'm reading it. I'm reading it. Yeah. So let's keep Trump out of it. Keep Trump out of it. I think I timed you out for 10 minutes. Yeah, that's what Desert Storm. Okay, we got this going on. Desert Storm, but then they reached out to Africa. All right, so the sales went, they had the We Are the World thing, the relief efforts in which some food was held hostage by the government. Hello, April. The food was held hostage by the government, and it rotted. Oh my gosh, it rotted in the ports because there were no delivery trucks. No delivery trucks. Let me see this. Hello there, Frank. Desert Shield. So 1 million people died. Now 30 million in at least 6 countries are threatened. This is a newspaper from the Chicago Sun-Times, Wednesday 19. I found it in the bottom of this crate because I'm down here straightening out my basement. And this newspaper was down in the bottom of it, and I opened it up and I found some interesting information in this newspaper. If you're just tuning in, no, that's a wooden crate, and that wooden crate is not garbage. Yeah, it's not garbage. It's going back in history. And some of the topics, if you just now got in, are the same topics that are being talked about today in the news. It's like a circle is being made. A circle is being made. It's like a complete circle. Now let's look at this. So 1 million. There's nothing funny. There's nothing to make fun of about people dying of starvation. Okay? It doesn't matter where they're at. There's nothing funny to laugh about. 3 months before your son was born. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I like the crate. I don't know what it had in it. CNN, knowing it has a jump on the big story and hoping to embarrass the big three network, spent nearly $300,000, but nearly 2 months. They spent 2 months setting up the Africa Project. ABC, CBS, and NBC, they're all three-letter news agencies, all have done the stories on the most recent famines raging through Africa, but only CNN has a bureau between Johannesburg and Cairo, South Africa. Um, there's a lot of investments now in South Africa. China has enormous investments in Africa, big time. All right, so we're looking at this. Famine in Africa ends Friday with a 1-hour live special from an Ethiopian refugee camp in the Ogaden Desert, where more than 1 million people might die of hunger within weeks. Taped reports of everything from which hunger is really like to what transportation difficulties and the Sudan is. Nairobi. So they're in Nairobi. Bureau Chief Gary Stryker said they are being broadcast daily at 5 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m., and 1 a.m. and live updates from Ethiopia are transmitted 4 times a day. CNN's Nairobi bureau chief, since the office opened in 1985, there are some who would say that there's a bit of racism involved in America's non-interest in Africa. It is also a question of economics. For reasons of interest and reasons of expense, I just never seem to produce the networks what they put into it. To get Ethiopia and its border refugee camp, CNN rented 2 rail cars and hitched them to the train that runs from Addis to Ababa to Dire Dawa. Flying was impossible because of the weight and the volume of the news agency's equipment. So that's what CNN report. Gina, what are you doing? Me reading a report. I'm on the basement floor. This is a newspaper that was in the bottom of a milk crate. Not a milk crate. A wooden crate. But the headlines in it are quite, look at this. Now, this is what you need to realize. Weight is no barrier to a full life, okay? It is true that being overweight may be a hindrance. It may be a hindrance, you all. You just need to know that it might be a hindrance for extra lonely as a date, but boyfriend or marriage or whatever, getting out there, loneliness, losing weight and getting a boyfriend will not solve your problem. It will not solve, it will not make you less lonely. Okay, it won't. So this like that. This is the topics in this newspaper. Gina, that's why you lose people on this channel. No, I'm not losing people. We're gaining people because we're speaking the truth. And this is where we were at the very beginning. This is when the time and newspapers had comics. They had karmics. Not karmics, Karmics. Would you enjoy a piece of candy? I most certainly would enjoy it. Thanks. Its name was Fluffy. I don't even know what this stuff is, you all. So this is a time. Now, see, you can see we went back. Okay, no rebound. This is Alan Greenspan. Battle brewing with the liquor and all of that stuff. You all, these were the same headlines that are going on today. Let your fingers do the walking. And they had sports. The pain of it all. Something about sports. Okay, so this was the newspaper from the Chicago Times. Suburban city woes. South Africa will end its racial labeling. Oh, there's a volcano that went off. People escaped the volcano. See, the INS-backed agency is here. You can see this was the then President Senior Bush. Says a letter from the Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev. Remember him at the Berlin Wall? Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I think they were at the checkpoint, Charlie. Narrowed the differences on a treaty to cut a long-range nuclear weapons. And you have Margaret Thatcher, former British Prime Minister, declared in Chicago. Yes, Yankee word, absolutely. Yeah. So that's what happened. That's what happened. They always redo the cities, Dorks, Mack and Lowry, NBA, whatever. So that was it right there. Gina, we don't care about that. Well, this is, it was a newspaper that was in the bottom of a crate. The High Court backs use of drug-sniffing dogs. Care centers sought for the sanctuary's hurt animals. I think that's great. You've got to have some care centers for the animals. Get a Citibank card. The French premier. Big award. Elizabeth Taylor. Wow, she's way gone now. India's Congress. It looks like they covered everything. But this was right here. Look at this. There was an article in here for people. There was a bad agency tricking the immigrants. Sydney Omar. Okay, this is a, must be, I don't know what that is. Okay, it might be escrow. Something about escrow. Escrow accounts. Amnesty, right here. Amnesty pitch question as the agency is sued. And immigration is right in the forefront again. It is this agency right here. Sweeping U.S. amnesty program in 1986, 3.1 million illegal aliens nationwide rush in to apply for amnesty. And this agency ripped them off as U.S. Immigration Naturalization Service celebrates its 100th anniversary this year. United States is welcoming a migration unparalleled since the 1920s. In 1989, 60,338 legal immigrants came to Chicago, compared to 22,259 in 1985. In the last 2 days, the Chicago Sun-Times has delved into the underground world of the Polish communities where dreams and scams go hand in hand and explored immigration fraud, multi-million-dollar business. Today's stories take a behind-the-scenes look at the migration business and a consultant who are under fire. They're under fire. I'm going to go like this. That way, you all want to read this, you have to pause this part of the video, and you can go read this. Chicago. You read it yourself, and you can compare it to, see, this is in our news now. We have the same things going on, but you have to pause this, and you go read it yourself. 3.1, illegal. The firm advertises heavily in Spanish language television, promises to help people with amnesty application. The word amnistia. Immigration lawyers, the PIA, basically giving legal advice without a license. Without a license. They wanted people to find good advice if you were in any of these communities. So this is really what was, look, immigration expert builds a complaint file, charging $100 to $500 to fill out immigration documents. So this is... that's what was happening. What is this? Apartheid. Blow to the South African lawmakers voted to end their race classification and the legal foundation of apartheid since 1950. United States praised the decision but cautioned that the white government still has not met all of its conditions. Sniff finding dogs. So this is all the stuff that was going on. Oh, wow. Whatever. I don't know what happened. Was the president poisoned? What president was poisoned? Covered by an American flag, former President Zachary Taylor are removed from a crypt in Louisville, Kentucky. What on earth? You all, did you know that? Louisville, Kentucky is right across the river. I didn't know Zachary Taylor. We gotta know this is Gina, what are you doing? I'm on the basement floor. I'm on the basement floor, and I'm looking through a 1991 newspaper from June the 19th that was in the bottom of a wooden crate. I'm down here cleaning up, and I wanted to flip through the paper. I'm chilling. I am chilling on here is what I'm doing. I'm chilling here, and now we have come across President Zachary Taylor. And was he poisoned? We're talking Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. So we're going to find you in Louisville, Kentucky. That's right across the river. We want to read this, you all. If you didn't know about this, 1991, they dug up his remains. We got a Saturday school. I've not done this before, you all. And actually, I don't have old newspapers laying around like this. I don't. But this is June the 19th of 1991, and it was exactly at the posting of that, something about 50 years since World War II. And that's what it said in this paper. We're going to go look at it. We're going to look at it. We got to read this, you all. Taylor's remains exhumed. Was the president poisoned? Louisville, Kentucky. A coroner took samples Monday on the exhumed remains of Zachary Taylor to check out a theory that the nation's 12th president was poisoned nearly 141 years ago for his pre-Civil War stand against the spread of slavery. An estimated 200 people stood by silently as the flag-draped coffin was removed from a crypt in Zachary Taylor National Cemetery. It was taken to Jefferson County Coroner's Office. Several hours later, 5-member honor guards from the Kentucky National Cemetery National Guard participated in the reinterment ceremony. The coroner, Richard Greathouse, that's a strange name, Richard Greathouse, planned the chemical tests on his hair, the nail, and the bone samples for any trace of arsenic, which author Clara Risen and a University of Florida forensic anthropologist suspect killed Taylor. If so, he would replace Abraham Lincoln in the history books as the first U.S. president to be murdered. Lincoln, the 16th president, was shot 15 years later by John Wilkes Booth and now is recorded as the first assassination victim. The samples obtained from Taylor's remains were of good quality, said the experts. So more sophisticated proton tests will not be required. Dr. George Nichols, the state medical practitioner, said the samples will be sent to a second lab for independent results or tests, and the results will be announced in about 2 weeks. If Taylor was poisoned by arsenics, it should be found even though he died July the 9th of 1850. Are y'all just tuning in? Did you hear about that? Zachary Taylor, the 12th president of the United States who stood up against the spread of slavery. There was a woman who said that he was poisoned. He was killed like that. And you we're reading this. They exhumed his body in Louisville, Kentucky. So this is exciting. I ain't done nothing like this. I'm sitting on my basement floor. I'm sitting on a mat, like one of those kneeling mats so my butt don't freeze. Yeah, so we got this. Do we need... look at this. So he was covered by the American flag, his remains. His descendants. These are his descendants. Covered by the American flag, the remains of former President Zachary Taylor are removed from a crypt in Louisville, Kentucky. Looking on are Taylor's descendants, Anne Le Bourgeois, and her sister, Helena Ruffy of Chicago, and Helen Marie Taylor. Bill Goza, besides Taylor, is not related. So we're going to see this. So the substance stays in the body and can be detected in the fingernail. A bone fragment or other tissue, said Dr. Harold Hurst, Associate Professor of the Pharmacology and Toxicology of the University of Louisville School of Medicine. Taylor's cause of death was listed as gastroenteritis, whatever, following a sudden illness. Did anybody look and see if they found that former President Zachary Taylor was poisoned? Did anybody do a search on that and put it in this comment section? If there remains, because the results was going to come back within 2 weeks, and that was 1991. I think they got the results by now because it's now the year 2024. So I think the results should be out there if he was poisoned. And if you can't find it in a general search, you have to go to the tools and you have to go do a specific date search. You just like do like maybe June the 19th of 1980 through June 20th. I say just say 1992. It should show up unless they covered it in the news. Excuse me. Unless they covered it in the news. Rising. Okay. The School of Medicine. Taylor's cause of death was listed as that illness right there. Rising of Holder, Florida, says, however, that the Mexican-American war hero known as Old Rough and Ready may have been killed for opposing the extension of slavery into the Southwest. At the Louisville Cemetery, as the remains were removed, was Taylor's great-granddaughter, Dalrymple Taylor, who said he had an opinion on the theory. Rumors have been running through the family for years and years. I'm just glad that someone is finally going to do something about it. Taylor said the stories passed down through his family held that his ancestor had been murdered. Senator Henry Clay of Kentucky, known as the Great Compromiser, would be a prime suspect. Zachary Taylor rejected Clay's calls for a compromise on the slavery issue before California was admitted to the Union. He also threatened war if the southern states made good on the threats to secede. Next to the President Clay, he wielded perhaps the greatest power at the time in Washington was Dabney, Taylor said. The president's descendant also noted that Clay quickly left Washington the night that Taylor fell ill. In a press conference, Rising also mentioned that Clay as a top suspect. In addition, she speculated on Vice President Millard Fillmore and the two unidentified Georgia politicians who said had a stormy meeting with Taylor over the slavery issue the day before Taylor became ill and died. What a way to look at that. Wow. I think we need to end it at that, you all. We're going to end it at that. Does anybody write in here in the comment section about it? About his, let's stretch my legs out. You should sit down on the floor like this, you all, and you got your legs stretched out, and you normally don't sit like that. It's going to do something to your muscles back there, your hamstrings, or your ligaments. Can y'all please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Yeah. Alexa said he had a large amount of fruit and drank iced milk to cause his death. Wow, Yankee Ward. That's interesting. Yeah. It wasn't arsenic. You know what I'm going to do? You're from South Africa, and you notice there is an article on the apartheid on the top page about Zachary Taylor too. Yeah. About the apartheid. Now let's look at this. So this was a blow to the apartheid. South Africa lawmakers voted to end the race classification, the legal foundation of the apartheid since 1950. The United States praised the decision, but cautioned that the white government still has not met all of the conditions for the lifting of the sanctions, and the story is on page 1 and 2. 1 and 2, I think that we looked at that story on page 1 and 2. Oh, that was back in the front, I think. It was back in the front, maybe. I don't know where it was, but we read a little bit about that in one of these things. We got amnesty, the police hunt. We got Americans are surviving in a hell camp. They wait evacuation near the Philippine volcano. You can see them right there. Talks finally underway in Ireland. If you're in Ireland, this is an article for you. You can pause it and you can read it. You want to hear about Belfast? Roman Catholic and Protestant open round talks. So I'll go like this so you can see it. This is from 1991, June the 19th, and you'll have to zoom it up. You can read. This is for you if you're in Ireland, since this YouTube channel is all around the world. And this is Mikhail Gorbachev right here with President Bush. They got a positive note. You can read that article from 1991, the Chicago Thing, regarded as medical Kuwaitis. The Kuwaits are resisting the turning in their war weapons. Kuwaitis, they did not want to turn in their war weapons in 1991. There will be another Lebanon here. People are fed up. There will be, you'll come back, Becky, honey. Mohammed, an American trained Kuwaiti engineer. The people are fed up, so sealed with a shake. German Chancellor Helmut Kohl and Polish Prime Minister Jan Krzysztof, they shake hands. They shake hands with the German-Polish non-aggression treaty in Bonn, Germany, I guess, to crown the long process reconciliation. The Soviet leaders finished the draft of the Union Treaty. So this is world news. You're just tuning in. I'm sitting on the basement floor. Now this is baseball. Dave Dravecki, something about that. Is this like iron something? Oh, Edison. Okay, South Africa. Who do we have in here from South Africa? Are you still in here? I'll show you the article. Oopsie. I'll show you the article and then you can do that. Did you see these buckets? Yeah, they got beans in them. Organic beans. Let me tell you about these buckets. These organic beans, you got a 5-gallon bucket. What you do is you take 1 cup of diametris earth, 1 cup, sprinkle it in the bottom of your bucket, just a little bit. Pour, say, maybe a third a bucket of beans in it. Sprinkle some more diametris earth over it. Mix the beans up because it literally keeps the insects out. It's something in there to kill insects if they try to get in there. Pour some more beans, sprinkle some more diametris earth over it, sprinkle them up like that. Mix them up. You seal it. You can also put some kind of oxygen absorbers in there to keep the moisture out. You wouldn't want to set them completely on a basement floor. You wouldn't. They had to be stored in a good, like a basement, a place where you have a controlled temperature. So that's what's right there, some beans. One time I had a whole bunch of bucket of beans. It was years ago. And I filled up a trailer. I had beans, I had flour, I had sugar, I had cases of canned jelly, apple butter. I took 2 trailer loads to the homeless shelter. When I went to the homeless shelter, I asked them if they needed any food, and they were totally out of food. This is in Jeffersonville, Indiana. And I asked them if I could have some people come and help me. So I brought 4 men from the homeless shelter, 2 trailer loads of food and coffee. They were on their last can of coffee at the homeless shelter. We had pasta, all kinds of stuff. They ran out of the room in the kitchen to pack all the flour, the sugar and stuff like that, because this has been several years back. They were palling the cases of apple butter, apples, peaches, jellies. They piled them up in the hallways. They set them on. They put all this food on and said, "Where are you going to store all this food? And how are you going to eat it?" Because the homeless shelter, they ran out. They said, "We're going to share it with the other shelters." So it didn't go to waste. It did not go to waste. They were so thankful. They were on their last can of coffee at that homeless shelter. It was an exciting time. It really was. I loved it. I do love it. It's good to help. It's good to help others. It really is. Not knowing, the shelter ran out of food, and it was hard to find food in the shelters and the food banks. They were really low. It was really nice, you all. I loved it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we were. Oh, did we say we have somebody from South Africa? This is South Africa ends the racial labeling. It's on page 12. So you can see this. Let's go to page 12. We're going to do this for you in South Africa. If I got page 12. I know how to go to page 91. Maybe I didn't get, maybe there's, I don't know what happened to page 12. Aw, I don't know what happened to page 12. Maybe it's missing. Page 43. I think it's missing. Page 12 is missing, you all. Page 43. I don't know what happened to page 12. I guess it wasn't in here. Page 5, 9, page 9. I'm trying to find page 12 for you. Nope, it's gone. It's totally gone from here. That's really strange. Page 12 is fully gone. If you're just tuning in, I'm done. I am done. Yeah. Oh, Patricia, yeah. You just never know. You never know what each day is going to bring. You don't even know what the future is going to bring. You don't. But we know that we got to be there for one another. We truly do. We got to look out for one another when it comes right down to it, because the government's not going to look out for you. They're not. And you cannot rely on the local agencies to have enough food to feed everybody, or have enough beds or shelters to house everybody. And, you know, I think it's a lot worse now than it was back then when I did it. A whole lot worse. A lot worse. We got to take care of each other. That's what it comes down to. And the love of most is literally, the love within others is literally, it's shrinking. It's shrinking. It's shrinking really, really bad right now. You can look around and it's each person's, they're out for their own self. It's all about them. It's not about nobody else. It's all about them. That's what it's about. All about what they can get, what's in it for them. This world, as we go forward, it's going to increase like that. It is. You're going to have to find like-minded individuals. You're going to be very, very careful. But you can form really strong groups with strong leaders in them. You can. But with anything, there's always bad apples that get in there and try to make all the other apples poison and all that kind of stuff. It's okay, you all. We're going to make it. You're going to make it as long as you do not give up. Don't give up. Continue being you. Continue to stay true to yourself on the inside of your being. Be led by the Spirit. If you're led by the Spirit, you will not gratify the desires of your sinful nature, because the sinful nature is hostile towards God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those controlled by the sinful nature cannot please God. You can't. You can live in the flesh and please your flesh and do everything that your flesh wants. You can do it all and forget about do unto others the way you'd have them do unto you. Love is the fulfillment of the law. It's all what it boils down to, you all. I'm not going to get rid of this paper. I was going to get rid of it. I was. But I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm not. I think I'm going to keep it because it's a piece of history. I'm going to have to stick it somewhere. I'm going to put it in a plastic bag is what I'm going to do. I have been on here for 1 whole hour. I haven't. That's right. We're never alone. I have not got off this basement floor. I've got nothing. Well, I've got a little bit of stuff done. I put some of my tools in a tool bag. I love tools. Love them. I'm getting organized. I really am. Yeah. It's okay. I'm going to go. I am. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. I'm sure it's probably noontime. Is it around 1 o'clock? A whole hour. That's right. Yeah, I've been on here an hour. I enjoyed every minute of it because I was in the company of good friends. And if I have an enemy amidst me, I was still in the company of good friends. My good friends outweighed the bad. That's right. Yeah. Yes, dental misorder. You all take care too. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, if you're just tuning into this video, I would go back. If you want to hear the history that was happening back in 1991, a lot of it pertains to here and now. And I wonder if and we also talked about the Australian Aborigines. They said, do not mine in this place because you're going to awaken our God underground. And back in 1991, they said they wouldn't. You had to go back and watch the video. I'm wondering if they mined in that place and awakened that God over there. You're so very welcome, you all. Catch you later, too. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. It's not all about UFOs and aliens. It's about the journey along the way, and we are all on a journey. And that was a looking back in time. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, love you.